Welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to be working on box beams for a cathedral ceiling. So the first thing I'm going to do to get started here is to rip a 45.5 degree edge on one of the long sides of the beams that I'm going to make. And 45.5 helps the glue go somewhere when it compresses to glue it up. Gives you a little room. Then I'm just going to cross cut a 90 degree edge to the reference edge that I just ripped. And all this is for purposes of flushing everything up later when I glue the beams together. Next thing I'll do is use a digital angle gauge to put on the blade, and I'm going to match the angle of the opposing side that I cut with the track saw. So I'm just going to put that to 45.5, and then I'm going to run the edge that I cut with the track saw up against the fence, and that's going to give me the perfect angles on each side for the center beam. For the bottom part of it, for the face, because that needs two angles. You can see here what I did was open the garage door. I strategically placed my table saw 10 feet away from the garage door. However, sometimes when, like in this situation where I'm ripping down boards that are 12 feet or longer, I just open the door to get that extra length. So it's not many times that I have to do that. So by placing it 10 feet away, that's the majority of the time I don't have to open it. You can see I'm using the Jessam stock guides on the fence. That helps ensure that I'm keeping one side tight against the fence to mimic and get the exact parallel edge on the other side, because that plays a part when you're gluing the beams up. You want good joints. So now I'm just going to use packing tape. I have the joints sitting together upside down. So basically where you would see the faces of the beams, the exposed parts towards you. And I just run the tape along those seams, making sure they're touching in all the spots as best they can. I mean, sometimes you get a little bit of an opening and it's not touching like 100%, but it's close enough. You can work that in later. I'm going to show you a method. Once I have all the tape in place, I just slowly roll it off of the sawhorses until one part folds over, and then the other part's going to fold down as I keep, moving it towards me, and then you just flip it over. And once you have it flipped over, now you're exposing insides of the joints where you need to put the glue. Now I'm putting these are like spacer blocks in the middle, but they're also structural supports, because what will happen is when you put these in place, they're cut to the exact dimensions of the inside. And so when you run the glue in there and you have these pieces pocket screwed in like I did, you have something for the sides of the beams to hit up against and give you that perfect 90 degree edge. So that gives you the best possible scenario and outcome that you can get. And then I just take anything that has a round shank. You could use a chisel, you can use a screwdriver. It has a smooth round shank. I use an old like the Craig pocket screw bit, and I just run that along the edge and burnish the edge together so that any of those little spots that, like I was telling you before, were open of the joint, that really closes them up really well. It mashes all the fibers together, and then the glue does its job and holds everything together with the tape. Do a little quick sanding, and then you can apply some stain. Just make sure that before you apply the stain, you vacuum the piece off. Same thing when you apply the finish. And just in case I get any questions about the stain, the color is aged walnut from Varathane. You can get it at the local box store. It's a really nice color. I'm using an HVLP with a 1.3 millimeter tip, and I'm spraying 3 coats of water-based lacquer. That's General Finishes Enduro pre-cat lacquer. This is normally I don't like pre-cat lacquer too much on like furniture, but these are beams that are going to be on the ceiling, so they give it a nice rich finish with that lacquer, real deep tone to the stain. But at the same time, no one's running their hands along the beams and touching it like they would for a cabinet or, say, a piece of furniture. Unfortunately, when I was installing this center beam from the ground, bringing it up to the scaffold and fitting it in place, the camera ran out of battery, and we didn't get that. So you're just going to see me nailing it off and putting the finished trim screws in it to secure it in place. But the rest of the beams I did get to film. So in the meanwhile, what I'm doing here now is cutting 4-inch holes for LEDs. I'm putting LED lights in the beams, and I'm running them down one of the side beams to a switch. So this room never had lights in it. When I bought the house, it actually just had an outlet that was controlled by a switch to turn on a lamp. Here's a little disclaimer for you. I actually have some electrical experience and prior knowledge from doing some jobs with electricians over the years, so I'm comfortable in wiring these lights together and them into a switch, an existing switch, to take that power to power up these lights. If you're not comfortable with doing this, then I advise you to hire an electrician. So with that being said, let's move on. So I drilled a small hole in the side of the beam that's going to be covered by that beam that's going to be against the wall there. And I'm running the Romex wire through all of the holes so that I can connect all these LEDs together, and then the switch will power them all at the same time. Now I'm just stripping all the wires down, removing all the extra wiring jacket from the Romex so that I can connect the box. This little plastic connector goes in the side of the box that will stop the wire from being cut on the metal box and chafing the wire and possibly causing a fire or an electrical short. And then it's pretty simple with these LEDs, and I'll link these in the description also. One of the main things that I like is not only the ease of installation because of the connectors where you just snap the wire into it and there's your connection. You don't have to tie any wires together with wire nuts or anything. But once you get that connected and all closed up, they're spring loaded and they snap right into place with those springs into the hole that you drilled. And then they're easily removed too because you just pull down on the light housing, and then you can just flip the spring back and you can take them on and off as you need to. And also they have like 4 or 5 different light settings, so there's all different tones that you can use. And it's, you know, really cool feature because some rooms you want kind of like a tungsten yellowish lighting. You know, maybe if you want white lighting for really bright tones in the room. It all depends on the look. You know, I went with the white setting for this. I think it was 3K was the setting on these, and it just gives this nice, really bright white tones that gives a little bit of a reflection on the satin finish on the beams, and it shows off that sheen. So it was perfect for this. Okay, now for these side beams, they're going to have the angles. So I'm going to take a bevel gauge, put it up against the ceiling, put the other part of it up against the wall, lock it in place. I'm going to bring it over to one side of my beam. I'm going to transfer that angle with a pencil to the corner of that beam, as close as I can get to the edge. Flip it over, make that same mark, and use a speed square to transfer it from the front to the other side. So that'll give me the connection that I need with the other side of the angle, so that I know I'm cutting it in the same exact spot from one side of the beam to the other. After I get this cut, and I'm going to use my HKC55 because it has an angle gauge on it, on the track, and the track is spring loaded. So all I have to do is just put it right up against the piece, and I make my cuts right on the pencil line, and I retract the saw, and there's no danger here when I make these cuts. Now for the front, because I was able to get through on both sides, I'm just going to take a little meat off the front. So I'm going to angle the saw to the bevel of the 2 sides that I just cut. And I'm going to back bevel that front edge. And that'll give me the tightest finish to the wall that I can get. Once I have that cut, and I take my measurement from the top of the wall to the top of the ridge where the center beam is, then I transfer that measurement to the other side and make my marks with the bevel gauge in the same exact way. I make the cuts, and then everything fits perfectly, just like a puzzle. It slips right into place. I put some PL construction adhesive on the inside of the beams, so this way they adhere to the strapping at the same time, giving it extra strength after I nail it in place. With 15 gauge finish nails, by the way, 2 3/8 inch long. Then I come back with trim screws, and because the trim head screws have a really small head on them, and then when they go into the beam, they actually hide themselves very well, especially when you're doing a dark stain. But if you were doing a lighter stain, then you can also, or a paint grade, they do sell white ones, but if you were doing a lighter stain or a lighter paint grade, you can actually just fill the holes with any kind of wood filler and match it with a color marker or a wax stick, and you can completely get rid of those holes. Nobody would even notice. Now, I thought the center beams going up from the walls were going to be the most difficult. They turned out to be the easiest. They were the hardest to make, obviously, because there was 4 pieces to them. But the side ones, they actually turned out to be a little bit more difficult because when you got them into the bottom corner and the top corner, you really had to kind of jam them in. So you're going to see me using the fast cap third hand to put a little pressure on that. And you'll see that that's what actually helped me jam it into the corner and really dig it into the sheetrock. And then I can install the screws and the nails to hold it in place, and then that's it. Once I take the third hand down, it didn't move at all, and it just, everything fits so perfect, and it's just basically rinse and repeat. So the hardest part was actually making the beams, where I thought the installation was going to be the hardest part. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I want to thank you guys for joining me, and stay tuned to the end to see a little preview of how it turned out.
Okay, that's it. Beams are installed. Let's shut the lights off. Okay, the lights are throwing off the focusing of the camera. See, we've got everything tight to the walls here. That's the side here, straight up. At the ridge, ran the electric through there. That's where my LEDs. I got them centered over here, one centered over there. At night, this is really bright. This room during the day is so bright from giant window right there that when you turn the lights on, it doesn't really do much except for mess with the camera. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. This was not really so much challenging as I thought it would be. This is the first time I'm doing cathedral ceiling box beams, but all the angles worked out perfect. Not hard to do, just got to follow the method that I showed you with the bevel gauge, and everything will come out nice and tight, and the beams will look like they're actually coming out of the walls from the ceiling and up to the ridge line.